Keep yourself in the loop of everything football on the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. The latest news on and off the field, be it college football, Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, Pac-12, ACC to the NFL. We've got you covered. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Welcome back to the GSMC Football Podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Tapia, and this episode is brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. It's been a while since we've had this podcast on. It was, last Wednesday? Yeah, last Wednesday. Enjoyed the Christmas break. Hope everyone had a good Christmas. I know I did, and with the new year coming up, this is another holiday spent with the family, or just spend it at home if you just want to rest and stuff. But nonetheless, we're back, and we got a lot to talk about. We got to talk about we're going to start off talking about James Harrison going to New England. And, I'm not going to get into it right now because I sort of talk about what else we're going to talk about. But this whole James Harrison thing is such a big and, it's a big waste of time. It's not a story. But, we got writers and all that, and Marquise Pouncey out here talking about his Steelers legacy, talking about how it's ruined, and then you got players talking about how he was never a mentor, and then you got people talking about how there's no loyalty, and then you got James Harrison talking about how he wasn't getting enough playing time. So yeah, we're going to talk about all that good stuff, and we're going to make my Week 17 picks, and that's going to be fun. We got a lot of games that don't mean anything going on Sunday, but we're still going to pick them, all right? Because that's what we do on this show. We make picks, and we're wrong about picks most of the time. That's one thing I noticed, too. When I'm making my picks, man, it's so, I feel like NBA, it's a lot easier to make picks in that than it is in the NFL. You never know, now I understand any given Sunday, that whole phrase. I understand it, all right? Thank you, Al Pacino. Thank you for teaching me about any given Sunday. Thank you. Now I know what it means. It means that, you know what? Anything could happen. All right, the Browns could pull out their first win of the season on Sunday. I'm not going to pick them to do it because I'm not crazy, but it could happen. All right, maybe the Falcons won't choke and maybe they will come up big and beat the Panthers. I don't think it's going to happen, but maybe it will. All right, let's see what else. What else could happen? Maybe the Bills can make it into the playoffs. I'll talk about that later on in the show. I'm not going to make my pick for that. Maybe the Titans kid beat the Jaguars and show up. Maybe, who knows? We don't know what happens. Like I said, just picking NFL games has become so difficult. I try so hard. I try, you guys. I try to be right, and it just doesn't happen. It doesn't. But either way, like I said, we'll be making our Week 17 picks. We'll talk about both. We're going to talk about the playoffs for the AFC and NFC 2 in that third segment. That's what we're going to do. I know, the seeding isn't finalized or anything like that, but I got a good idea on who's going to be in, who's not going to be in. And for that fourth segment, we're going to be talking about, what are we talking about? We're talking about college football playoff going on Monday and pretty much anything else going on in the world of football. Gonna make my picks. I know early on, right after the college football playoff teams were announced, when it was gonna be Clemson at number 1, then Oklahoma at number 2, or it doesn't matter either way. Georgia and Oklahoma, they're at 2 or 3. You can switch them around, doesn't matter to me. They're playing each other, and then you got Alabama at 4. Early on, I said Clemson was gonna beat Alabama, and then I said Georgia was gonna beat Oklahoma. One of those picks has changed, and I'll talk about why. So we'll do that. We're going to talk about anything else going on in football. Good old Todd Bowles got an extension, so we'll talk about that too in the fourth segment. We'll talk about the Giants, what they're going to do with Eli Manning and Odell Beckham Jr., and we'll talk about Andrew Luck a little bit, and pretty much anything else that comes to mind as far as football goes, because what do? We love football, right? But let's get into this whole James Harrison type of situation thing. I don't even know if you could call it a situation. What is the true definition of a situation? Guy's playing for New England, and there's this whole big story about it, and I don't get why. So let's just start from the beginning, I guess. So you got the Steelers, right? They cut James Harrison. I think it was It was either on Christmas or right before week 16, I think, okay? So that's where the story starts, all right? It's time for story time here, all right? So yeah, story starts, James Harrison gets cut right before week 16. Makes no sense. I don't get it at all, okay? I'm talking to my uncle at the Christmas party. He's telling me, like, he doesn't get why either, okay? He's a big-time Steelers fan, and he doesn't get why they cut James Harrison. He's telling me that. He's probably going to end up with the Patriots, and, I mean, he was right. He ends up with the Patriots. And honestly, like, who didn't see this coming, honestly? All right? I mean, like, as the Steelers GM, I don't know if Mike Tomlin is the one who runs player personnel, picks up players, cuts players, trade players. I'm not sure if that's what he does, okay? I'm not sure if they got their own GM who does that, but, I mean, if you're cutting James Harrison, like, you gotta know he's gonna end up in New England, right? Like that has to be common knowledge, I feel. Okay, because you know what? The Patriots don't have a good pass rush at all. It's brutal, okay? They don't have a good pass rush. So obviously, if you're gonna cut a guy like James Harrison, and I'm not saying James Harrison is gonna make a big difference or anything with New England, because he's probably not. He's past his prime. His best years are behind him, okay? But he could give a little something for New England in these what? They got Week 17, Divisional, AFC Championship. So 3 games right there guaranteed, okay? And I say guaranteed because they're going to win the division round. It doesn't matter who they're playing, okay? So you get 3 games guaranteed right there. And, I mean, we're talking as if, like, James Harrison is this guy who is in his prime, and it's just like, why did the Steelers cut this guy in his prime? Now he's going to the Patriots. Now he's going to go out, and he's going to beat the Patriots. Like, James Harrison, that's not James Harrison anymore. And that's another thing why I don't understand why we're making such a big deal out of it. The guy hasn't even played so far this season, okay? And it makes no sense to me. Like, why are we making such a big deal out of this? I mean, there's three or four big things that I'm going to talk about after I get into this, but like, it doesn't make sense to me. So I guess we might as well. I mean, let's just finish up the whole story thing, okay? So James Harrison gets cut. Everyone's confused as to why he got cut, okay? I mean, to me, it made no sense to cut him with only a couple games left in the regular season and the playoffs. I mean, if it's me, like, I would have just kept him. Okay, so then you got that happening. He gets cut, clears through waivers, obviously, because no one else wanted him. And then you got the Patriots. Obviously, I mean, I'm telling you, everyone had to know that this was happening, okay? So, yeah, Patriots call him. They sign him. Oh, what did he do? Okay, James Harrison's playing for the Patriots now. And then all this stuff just breaks open. You got Marquise Pouncey coming out and say, oh, James Harrison Steelers legacy, that's ruined. And you got guys coming out and say he was never a mentor for the younger guys. And you got fans and everyone else questioning his loyalty. And then you got people saying, oh, yeah, James Harrison's going to give away the Steelers game plan. We're going to talk about that. Can't wait to talk about that, actually. It's going to be really fun. But yeah, you got people saying, oh, he's going to give away the Steelers game plan. That's how they're going to beat Pittsburgh. Made me laugh when I heard that. I've been seeing it on Twitter all over the place. Oh, James Harrison, he's going to the Patriots so he could give away the game plan. Comedy. And I'll tell you why in a little bit. Okay? And then you got James Harrison coming out today on Instagram saying that he requested his release. Okay? He's been requesting his release all season. When he signed that 2-year extension deal, I think it was this offseason or the past offseason, doesn't really matter, but either way, he signed an extension deal. All right? He said he was told by the Steelers front office and coaches and stuff that, you know what, yeah, he'd be playing still. He'd be playing a lot. Hasn't been the case, obviously, this season. Guy really has not seen the field. All right? He said that, I think it was in training camp or practices, either way, that he wasn't getting too many reps. And he told coaches, you know what, if I'm going to play, I'm going to need these reps so I can be the best that I can be. And the coaches told him, we know what you are, so you'll be fine. Okay? James Harris was like, oh, okay, whatever, you guys are the coaches. They don't play him. All right, goes week to week, not really playing at all. Okay, he's been inactive a couple of games, and like I said, he's just been active. He said he's been asking for a release all season, and Steelers repeatedly said no. Okay, this last time when he did get released, he asked for his release. Steelers said no, but a couple days later, he said they ended up releasing him, obviously, because now he's on the Patriots. Okay, so here we are now. James Harrison playing for the Patriots. Let's get into these 3 or 4 points that I want to make about it. All right, let's start off with the whole his Steelers legacy being ruined, okay? So like I said, Marquise Pouncey comes out, says, James Harrison going to the Patriots, obviously ruined his Steelers legacy, crying about it, you know? Marquise Pouncey, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, how about you start working on your legacy before you start talking about James Harrison's, okay? If you remember, James Harrison had that 99-yard interception touchdown return in the Super Bowl against Arizona, one of the best plays ever. All right, it's hilarious because the dude's like, what, 5'8", 5'9", and you see the little guy running with the ball. It's like Isaiah Thomas in the NBA, pretty much. If you were to intercept the ball, just pretty much bulked up and just big monster animal. Okay, you see him running short little legs, running. It was hilarious, making cuts. Steelers blocking. It was just a huge play right there. Pretty much turned the game around. Pretty much one of the biggest reasons why the Steelers won that Super Bowl, okay? So you got that. And you got James Harrison, who's just caused havoc on offensive lines and quarterbacks since he's been with the Steelers, okay? And before I even get into all that, I mean, let's not forget, he did go to the Cincinnati Bengals when the Steelers cut him a couple years ago. Where was talk about his Steelers legacy being ruined there? I don't remember. Do you guys? No, because there was no talk about it. Guy goes to the Bengals, one of the Steelers' biggest rivals. Okay? Division rival right there. You didn't hear whoever the center was at the time. I'm not even sure if it was Marquise Pouncey or whatever. You didn't hear anyone say, oh yeah, his Steelers legacy's ruined. No one cared because the guy wasn't playing well. Alright? So now fast forward. Here we are. Signs with the Patriots. Oh, his Steelers legacy's ruined. No, it's not. It's not ruined. I'm not sure, like, I know pretty much every team has a Ring of Honor type of thing. I'm not sure what the Steelers call it, but James Harrison, his name is going to be in Heinz Field. They're gonna do something for him eventually, okay? No doubt. James Harrison has done way more than Marquise Pouncey could hope to do for the Steelers, all right? Could hope to do. Marquise Pouncey, just snap the ball and block. That's it, all right? Don't talk about James Harrison, okay? His legacy's not ruined. Marquise Pouncey doesn't even have a legacy with the Steelers. He could get cut, and he's just another guy who played for the Steelers. I'm not trying to say Marquise Pouncey's a bad player or anything like that, because he's not. He's one of the solid centers in the NFL. But I'm saying there's a whole lot more to where Marquise Pouncey could get cut. Oh, well, just go to a different team. No one cares. James Harrison, done way more than Marquise Pouncey wishes he could do in Pittsburgh, okay? James Harrison, I know the Steelers have had a lot of great players go through those doors and play for them. You guys like Terry Bradshaw, Franco Harris, you got guys like new guys like Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, and Ben Roethlisberger, and I think the dude's name was Joe Green, defensive lineman. All right, James Harrison, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he should. Oop, gotta sneeze real quick. False alarm? I think it's false alarm. All right, no sneeze. Ooh, I can feel it's coming. But either way, going back to it, all right? James Harrison is one of the better Steelers players of all time, I feel. Just not off of pure talent, just what he's done for the team, I feel. Like, he's not just some other player that they've cut. I think I'm not a Steelers fan or anything like that, so I'm just talking about from the outside looking in. But I feel that James Harrison has done a lot for that team and meant a lot to that team to where he could be regarded as one of the better players. Obviously not a top 5 player or anything like that, I don't think, but he's one of the better players in Steelers history, I feel. So that whole his legacy's ruined, that's baloney. It's not, all right? Marquise Pouncey, get out of your feelings. And as far as James Harrison not mentoring the younger guys like TJ Watt or whoever else is there on the defensive line, he doesn't have to. It's a business. He does not have to mentor the guys that are going to take his job. All right? That makes no sense to me. I don't get where it says in the NFL you got to mentor the guys that are going to take your job. Brett Favre didn't mentor Aaron Rodgers. Turned out fine. All right, remember? They brought in Aaron Rodgers. Everyone knew that he was going to take Brett Favre's job eventually, and Brett Favre knew it. So why should Brett Favre have to mentor the guy who's going to take over his job? It makes no sense to me. Are you going to mentor the guy at your corporate job or wherever you work that's going to be taking over your spot? Would you? No, you wouldn't. So don't be saying that James Harrison should have been mentoring those guys, because he shouldn't have. Okay? It makes no sense to me. And there's the whole loyalty thing now. Loyalty in the NFL is such a scam. There's no such thing as loyalty in the NFL. Fans got to get over that. Players don't owe anything to you. It doesn't matter that you're buying tickets. They don't owe anything to you, okay? I'm sorry, but it's true. The whole loyalty, oh, he got cut by the Steelers, but he shouldn't go to the Patriots. No, that's not how it works. This is a business. We as fans and people and all that, we forget that this is a business first. Okay, put into simplistic terms as a fan, all we're doing is watching people play football. We're just watching people play sports. That's it. Okay? People get invested into their teams way too much, I feel, and that's where that whole loyalty thing comes from. You're not paying the players, okay? You buying tickets or merchandise is not signing the checks. I'll tell you that much. May have a little tiny something to do with it, but you're not signing the checks. All right? You're not. Simple as that. Okay, and this whole James Harrison shouldn't have went to the Patriots thing because of loyalty, that's such garbage. Okay, like I said, it's a business. James Harrison's going to the Patriots because he's going to play on the Patriots. He's going to get some playing time. All right? Steelers, he wasn't getting no playing time because you got a dude like TJ Watt who could be the defensive rookie of the year. I think it's going to be him or Reuben Foster, I feel, or even Marshawn Lattimore, one of those guys. I might be missing someone. But yeah, TJ Watt's been a beast, so I completely understand why the Steelers are playing him over James Harrison. I completely understand it. As of right now, just based off of ability right now, TJ Watt is a better player than James Harrison is right now. Obviously, like overall, all time, James Harrison is a better player than TJ Watt. But as of right now, I'm taking TJ Watt on my team than James Harrison because I know TJ Watt's got years ahead of him, and he can do way more than James Harrison could right now. Okay, so I completely understand that. All right, but the whole it's just the whole loyalty thing makes no sense to me. Okay, it's dumb. Loyalty is dumb. Okay, when owners or GMs or whatever are cutting an older player because the guy behind them plays just as well and he makes a little bit less, even though that guy that they're cutting has done so much for that franchise, where's the loyalty there? There isn't any. Okay, so we got as fans got to get over this whole loyalty thing because it makes no sense to me. There's no such thing as loyalty in the NFL. These dudes are playing to feed their families. Okay. You tell me, you go up to an NFL player, tell him, oh yeah, if you weren't getting paid to do this, would you still be doing it? Some might say, yeah, because they're not thinking about it. But you know the real answer? No, they wouldn't, because you can't feed your family getting paid for the love of the game. That's not a real thing. Okay? These guys weren't getting paychecks, they wouldn't be here. So this whole loyalty thing is just, it's a myth. That's all it is. It's a myth. There's no such thing as loyalty in the NFL. It's a business. It's always going to be a business. And it's never going to change. And I like how players are starting to become more individualistic too in the league and starting to think for themselves. That's how it should have been the whole time. Go out and get yours. Forget what the fans say. Forget what anyone else says. Doesn't matter. This is your job. All right? If you work in a corporate job, some other business offers you way more money or a better job. Are you going to stay at your old job because of loyalty? No, you're going to go take the other one. Obviously. So the whole loyalty thing. And to my final point, there's this whole, James Harrison's going to give away the game plan for the Steelers to the Patriots and all that. Think about that statement for a second as I pull up these stats head to head, okay? Think about it. The whole James Harrison, it's hilarious to me. I'm laughing, just smiling, talking about it right now. Yeah, James Harrison is going to give the Steelers game plan to Bill Belichick because he needs it. That's what it's going to take to beat the Steelers. All right, you ready for this? Last game they played, obviously the Jesse James controversy thing. Either way, Patriots won that one 27-24. How about the game before that in the playoffs? Patriots won that 36-17. How about the game before that in Heinz Field? Patriots won that 27-16. How about the game before that? Patriots won that one 28-21. How about the game before that? Patriots won that one 55-31. How about the game before that? Ooh, Pittsburgh got a win. Okay, 25-17. You want to go the game before that? Let's go 7 games. Game before that. Guess who won that one? The Patriots, 39-26. Last 7 games. Bill Belichick is 6-1 against the Patriots. So tell me again how, now that James Harrison is playing for the Patriots, now he's going to give away the game plan. That's how the Patriots are going to beat him. Bill Belichick does not need James Harrison. Okay, he could have not signed James Harrison, and it still would have been the case. Patriots still would have been 6-1 against Steelers last 7 games. All right, obviously this year might be a little bit different. Antonio Brown, he's still working on that calf. All right, not sure how well he's going to be, but you know what? James Harrison doesn't matter. The whole giving game plan weight, that's comedy to me. Okay, it's not. You know what? I actually got to wrap up this segment. We'll finish it up in the next one. So stay tuned. Obviously, we're going to talk a little bit more about this whole Patriots James Harrison thing because I got more to say about it, and we're going to talk about the whole playoff wildcard situation going on for the AFC and NFC. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's gsmcpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
And welcome back to the GSMC Football Podcast. That last segment, we had to cut it short a little bit because, you know what? My little James Harrison on the Patriots rant was going a little bit too long, but we're going to finish that up right now. So just getting back into it, I was talking about when I was finishing up the last segment, I was talking about how, our last point was about how people were talking about how James Harrison is going to give up the Steelers game plan to the Patriots and all that, and that's what's going to hurt the Steelers. And I was talking about how, you know what, last 7 games, Bill Belichick is 6-1 against the Steelers. Okay, just going back to it. Like I was saying, this whole little story that, oh yeah, Steelers game plan, it's going to be all messed up because now James Harrison's playing for the Patriots. No, that's not happening. Bill Belichick does not need James Harrison to beat the Patriots. I'll tell you that much. Anyone who thinks that, just think about it for a second. Just think. Think about how crazy that sounds. Bill Belichick really needs someone from the opposing team to beat them? Really? Really? Is that really what we're thinking? Honestly? I'm chuckling right now and even talking about it. That's probably the craziest little tiny storyline from this whole thing, okay? You got the whole Steeler legacy ruined, okay? That's pretty laughable, okay? The loyalty thing, that's pretty laughable too. What else? There was one more thing too we were talking about. Oh, okay, we're going back to the whole Steelers game plan being given to the Patriots. That is the funniest part about this whole thing. People thinking that Bill Belichick needs James Harrison to give up the Steelers game plan to beat the Steelers. Like I said, check the last 7 games. Bill Belichick, 6 wins. Steelers, 1 win. Bill Belichick doesn't need James Harrison. And obviously this year might be a little bit different because I think the Patriots are better suited to beat the Patriots, or the Steelers are better suited to beat the Patriots this year. I think the Steelers have a good chance of beating the Patriots. But this whole James Harrison was brought onto the Patriots to give up their game plan and tell the Patriots what the Steelers are game planning for and who they're game planning and who they're going to try and stop and all that. It's just laughable. Think about it for a second. Just think. This is why this story should not be a big deal. Guy's 39. Hasn't played this season. Obviously, his best seasons are behind him. Why are Steelers fans and Steelers players so worried about it? It doesn't make sense to me. But what do I know, right? I'm just a guy with a podcast. So, like I said, this whole James Harrison to the Patriots thing should have never been this big of a story. But here we are. Here I am talking about it. That's all I got to say about that. Now, let's talk about some playoffs. Playoffs? Talking about playoffs? All right, so let's get into it. This whole wild card in the AFC, this whole wild card situation in the AFC, it's going to come down to obviously these games right here, okay? You got the Ravens who are fighting for a spot. You got the Titans who are fighting for a spot. You got the Chargers who are fighting for a spot. And you got the Bills who are fighting for a spot. And as far as the NFC goes, you got the Seahawks and the Falcons who are fighting for a spot for that last one. Okay, obviously, there's going to be 2 teams for sure out of the NFC South that make it, the Saints and the Panthers. Whether or not one is a wild card and one is the division winner will remain to be seen. Okay, so we got the wild card. Obviously, we know the teams that are going to be fighting for them. So let's start with the NFC real quick. Okay, and I'm going to give up some of my picks right here for the next segment because obviously we do make our week-to-week picks. So we're going to do it in the next segment. But like I said, let's just give away some of them right now. So go into it. We got the Carolina Panthers facing off with the Atlanta Falcons. Obviously, this game means something right here, okay? You got the Panthers who are still trying to win the division. All right? And they're going to pull out the win against Atlanta. I have no doubts about that, okay? Everyone is still hanging on to Atlanta as if they're a good team. They're not a good team. They have talent, but they're not a good team. And yes, there is a difference. Okay? There's a huge difference. Okay, having a good team is being able to put it together and being able to work together and pretty much just making it flow. The Falcons haven't done that. They're barely squeaking by bad teams week after week. Okay? Julio Jones is not what he should be this season. Julio Jones should be what Antonio Brown was this season. Julio Jones should be in the MVP talk, having great years, but he's not. Okay? So don't give me this, like I hate when people say, oh yeah, Julio Jones is one of the best receivers in the league. Oh yeah, he's got the opportunity to be. But has he shown that this year? Oh, but Julio Jones had 253 yards receiving in one game. Cool. Antonio Brown drops 100 yards and a touchdown every single week. I'd rather take that over the guy who gives me one amazing game a season and is inconsistent for the rest of the year. Okay? Julio Jones, bad year for him. Devontae Freeman finally starting to pick it up. It's not even Devontae Freeman's fault that he's had a down year. It's Steve Sarkisian's fault. It's Steve Sarkisian's fault why this Atlanta team has not played well so far this season. All right? When you got Julio on the sideline during the third down, bad call. I don't care what you think is going to work. It's a bad call. I don't care if it does work. Bad call. Tevin Coleman, not playing as well as he should be this season. Why? Steve Sarkisian. Okay, that should be a 1-2 monster right there. All right? Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara, that's what Atlanta should want to be right there with Tevin Coleman and Devontae Freeman. That's what they were last season and the year before that. Doesn't make sense to me as to why they haven't been utilizing this talent that they got on offense. Okay, Steve Sarkisian has made it so vanilla. For those that know what vanilla means, it means it's boring. It's plain. I mean, Atlanta doesn't deserve to be a playoff team at all. They don't. Okay? And I will stick by that. I don't care even if they make the playoffs. They'll get bounced in the first round. They don't deserve to be in the playoffs at all. They're not playing like a playoff team. You know who deserves to be in the playoffs? Even with all the dysfunctional stuff that they've been going on the last couple of weeks? It's the Seattle Seahawks. Okay? They still go out and they play well. Obviously, they got blown out by the Rams, but the Rams are one of the better teams in the NFC right now, and the Seahawks are still missing Richard Sherman and Cam Chancellor for the year. Earl Thomas can't stay on the field because that guy's always hurt. Okay, but Russell Wilson's still finding a way. Give me the Seahawks in the playoffs over the Falcons. The Seahawks, at least I know on any given Sunday, thanks Al Pacino once again for that, but Seattle always got a chance. If they make the playoffs, they'll be playing the Rams, I think. Okay? And I guarantee you that the Rams aren't going to blow Seattle out like they did in Seattle a couple weeks ago. That's not going to happen. I promise you that. The Rams might pull it out, and they probably would because they're the better team right now. But I'm telling you, Seattle's going to give the Rams a better game than the Falcons ever would. The Falcons need to get rid of Sarkisian, okay, and find someone who can utilize it, Julio Jones, make Matt Ryan look like the MVP he was last year, and use that two-headed monster with Tevin Coleman and Devontae Freeman. Okay, that defense has been playing lights out so far this season, and the offense isn't pushing their weight. All right? So, yeah, I don't think the Falcons are making the playoffs. I think the Seattle Seahawks are going to make it. I think the Panthers are going to beat the Falcons for sure. All right? So, you know what? Let's head over to the AFC real quick. We got the not the Falcons. Ooh, I still got them on my mind, but we got the Bills, the Chargers, the Ravens, and the Titans. Okay, so let's take it team by team. Ravens, they got the Bengals this Sunday. All right, Ravens are winning that game. Lock it down. It's happening. Ravens are going to be the 5th seed, first wildcard team, and they're going to be facing off with the Chiefs. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a few moments. But, yeah, Ravens are winning. Joe Flacco's been playing well. Defense has been playing like any Ravens defense should. Alex Collins, Buck Allen, productive running backs out the backfield. Mike Wallace, not as productive as he used to be, but he's out there doing his job. He's being productive enough. Okay? Ravens team, this team is built for the playoffs. They're going to beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. Lock that one down too. Okay? No doubt about it. No doubt about that. I promise you. The Ravens, they'll beat the Bengals, and then they'll beat the Chiefs. Okay? Then Alex Smith is going to go to a different team next year. That's a story for a different day. All right? I'm not even worried about the Ravens. Like, in my mind already, I already have it that the Titans, Bills, and Chargers are playing for the 6th spot. Okay? Titans, they're playing Jacksonville. Jacksonville sent out a tweet that they're playing their starters, and their goal is to knock the Titans out of the playoff picture. When I seen that, I was like, oh, it's going to happen. The Jaguars are going to come out and they're going to blow out the Titans. Okay? The Chargers and Buffalo Bills game, we'll talk about those ones in a little bit. Those aren't going to be blowouts. This Titans one, it's going to be a blowout. Marcus Mariota and those guys aren't going to know what hit him. No DeMarco Murray in this game. Obviously, it doesn't matter. DeMarco Murray, his best years are behind him. Now he's just getting cashed out. But the Jags, they're gonna blow the Titans out of the water. Okay, that defense is going to cause so much trouble for Marcus Mariota, who's been having a terrible year. Had that guy on my fantasy team, worst player on my team. Okay? And even if we're not talking about fantasy, the guy's thrown, I think, more interceptions than touchdowns. He just doesn't have it this season. He's not a bad quarterback. He just doesn't have it this season. That's all it is. And you know what? They haven't been able to figure out that running back position, right? So sometimes it looks like Derrick Henry's the guy, plays well. Next week he doesn't. Then DeMarco Murray comes in, scores a couple of touchdowns, and he's the guy. They can't make up their minds. Mike Mularkey might end up getting fired if they lose on Sunday. And I think they're going to lose on Sunday. Okay? So the Titans, they don't deserve to be in the playoffs either. They're just like the Falcons. I don't want to see the Titans in the playoffs. I don't want to see them get blown out by the lose to the Jaguars in the playoffs. I don't want to see that. Give me the Chargers versus the Jaguars. I know Phillip Rivers is going to give me a better game at least. Heck, even give me the Bills versus the Jags. I mean, the Titans are the worst team out of the Ravens, the Bills, and the Chargers and themselves, okay? Titans are the worst team out of that, out of those, okay? I promise you that. They are. No one wants to see the Titans in the playoffs besides the Titans. And I'm sure their fans even know what's going to happen if that team makes the playoffs. Trust me. We all do. Lock it up. Titans make the playoffs, they'll just get bounced. That's it. All right, now let's talk about the Buffalo Bills. All right. The Bills, I think that whole starting Nathan Peterman game against the Chargers, that's going to come back to bite them in the butt. That's going to be their downfall. They don't do that, they're in the playoffs. They're going to lose to Miami on Sunday. All right. Miami has been playing really well at home. On the road, if it was in Buffalo, give me Buffalo 10 times out of 10. Okay? But you know what? I got Miami at home. Okay, obviously they're knowing that they can knock the Bills out. They can knock a division rival out of the playoffs. Okay? And they're going to do it. The Bills should have never started Tyrod Taylor or sat Tyrod Taylor for that one game. They don't do that, they're in the playoffs like I said. Okay, so the Bills, they're going to miss out again. Extend that playoff drought to 22. And you know what? It sucks for the fans because the fans don't deserve that. They don't deserve for their coaches to be the reason why they're not going to make the playoffs. But either way, it's going to be why. The Bills aren't making the playoffs. So obviously if the Bills and Titans are making the playoffs and the Ravens are, that means I have one other team that's making it, and it's the Chargers. Chargers, they're going to beat the Raiders without a doubt. All right, Raiders, by far the most disappointing team this season. But you know what? That front office, coaches, all those players sold us a bunch of lies. I'm talking about the Raiders too right here, okay? No, I should be talking about the Chargers, but let me get into the Raiders real quick. All right, they sold the fans a bunch of lies. I'm not a Raiders fan, but they sold them a bunch of lies. Oh, yeah, we're going to go to the AFC Championship before we go to Vegas. We're going to win a Super Bowl. No, you're not. You ain't got no defense at all. Your defense is garbage. You can't do anything without a defense. All right, so yeah, Raiders, they're losing to the Chargers this week. Phillip Rivers is going to come out and have a great game. I think the Chargers are at home in this one, and Phillip Rivers is going to come out and pull a win. They'll probably lose to the Jaguars in the playoffs, but give me the Chargers in the playoffs over the Titans 10 times out of 10. Okay, Phillip Rivers is going to make it a game against the Jags, and I know he's going to come out. He's going to play well against the Raiders. So, I mean, as far as those two wild cards go for both conferences, I got the Seahawks getting in, and I got the Ravens and Chargers getting in. Titans don't deserve to be in there, neither do the Falcons. The Bills had their chance, but they screwed it up when they sat Tyrod Taylor for that one game. All right, so that's all I got to say about that. That was a nice little rant I went on. But next up, we're going to be making our Week 17 picks. Obviously, you know how some of my picks, but I'll go ahead and talk a little bit more about each game. About the Carolina Panthers and Falcons game. I'll talk more about the Raiders and Chargers game. I'll talk more about the Bills and Dolphins game, and I'll talk more about the other two teams. But that's going to wrap it up for this segment. Like I said, next up, we'll be making our picks, so stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA, from the UFC to extreme cage fighting. They got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Alrighty, welcome back to the GSMC Football Podcast. That last segment, we talked a little bit more about the whole James Harrison thing, finished up my points about it, and then we talked about the whole wild card situations that we got going on in both the AFC and NFC, and talked about who I think is going to get in, who I think is not going to make it. I think the Seahawks are going to get in over the Falcons, and I think the Chargers and Ravens are going to make it in the AFC. So, for this, let's make those Week 17 picks. I want to get at least 75% of these picks right. Okay, I'm not sure how many picks it's going to take for me to get right in order to be better than 75%, because I was never good at math. That's why I do this whole talking about sports thing and right. But let's just get into it right now. So we got the Chicago Bears facing off with the Minnesota Vikings. The only meaningful part of this game is that the Vikings are playing for seeding. They win and Philly loses, Vikings get the first seed. If they win and Philly wins, Vikings get the second seed. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Either way, they're getting a first round bye. And as for the Bears, I mean, they're more looking forward to the offseason. Okay, it's looking like John Fox is going to be gone, as I think he should. I think the NFL's passed them up. You got guys like Sean McVay coming in, playing and coaching well. It's the younger man's game now. And, I think that Chicago isn't too far away from competing, okay? I think Mitch Trubisky is going to be the future quarterback for the team. I think he's going to play well. Obviously, Jordan Howard's a great running back in the league. That defense is young and quick. They get to the ball quick. They don't really let you take off with it or anything like that. And what else did I say? Oh yeah, drew a blank right there. But they need to fix up that receiver position big time. Okay, we know what they need to do is they need to draft Calvin Ridley out of Alabama. They draft Calvin Ridley, the Chicago team's going to be a whole lot different. But me saying that, I mean, they still have to find a good coach. They haven't had a good coach in... Who was the Bears' last really good coach? Honestly, I can't think of anyone right now. It's not John Fox. Definitely wasn't Mark Trestman. Who was the coach before Mark Trestman? Lovie Smith. Was Lovie Smith a coach before Mark Trestman? I remember that's the last great coach. I don't even know. Lovie Smith a great coach? Yeah, Lovie Smith. I still don't know why Tampa Bay fired Lovie Smith. That was dumb. But yeah, Lovie Smith probably the last good coach that Chicago had. He took him to a Super Bowl with Rex Grossman. And Chicago, in order for them to get good, they have to get this coaching thing right. They have to hit it perfect. If they don't get the coach right, then anything else that they do in the offseason does not matter. So we'll see. I mean, yeah, getting Calvin Ridley, it's not going to matter unless they hire someone good to come in and lead this team. And I'm not sure if they can do it because they haven't shown that they can. So we'll see about it. But nonetheless, getting back to my pick, I got the Vikings in this one, obviously. Next up, we got the Buffalo Bills facing off with the Miami Dolphins. I talked a little about this. Obviously, you know who my pick is. I got the Dolphins in this one. All right. Miami's going to go into this game knowing that they can end the Bills' season. Okay, they're going to know that for sure. And I think that they're going to. It's just fate. Okay, sports, obviously, there's stats and all that, but sometimes fate just plays a hand in it. The Bills not starting Tyrod Taylor against the Chargers that 1 week where they started Nathan Peterman, that's going to come back and that's going to haunt them. All right, it's one of those you can't really like, this is a gut pick right here. I'm making this pick with my gut. Obviously, my head is telling me, you know what, go with the Bills. It's the most logical pick. But you know what? I'm going to go with my gut. I think that whole Nathan Peterman thing is going to come back and it's going to haunt him and it's going to happen. So I got the Dolphins in this one. Next up, we got one of the more meaningless games of the week. We got the Green Bay Packers facing off with the Detroit Lions. This is going to be the game where fans are arguing. The Detroit Lions fans and Green Bay Packer fans are going to be arguing next year about, oh, we beat you guys. Oh, but we beat you guys too or whatever. All right, I got the Lions in this one. It's a meaningless game, but Brett Hundley's not that good of a quarterback. Matt Stafford's a better quarterback. Therefore, I got the Lions. Detroit really let me down. I really wanted to see him in the playoffs just because Matt Stafford's one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league. I like the way he plays. I don't think he gets too much respect, but we'll see about next year. Who knows? Maybe Megatron will come back. I'm joking. Next up, we got the Texans versus the Colts. Probably the most meaningless game of the weekend. I mean, I was making my pick in the sports podcast too. Go ahead and check that one out. GSMC Sports Podcast. I host that one. Also host the fantasy football show, but we haven't been able to do that one since we've been on the break a couple of times. But let's see, Texans and Colts. I got the Colts. I'm going with Jacoby Brissett in this one. I really like Jacoby Brissett as a quarterback. I really think he's a good quarterback. I think he's got a future in the NFL. I think he should be a starter on a good team, but that probably will never happen. Nonetheless, I think Jack Doyle is going to have a good game, and that's a player right there I'm looking out for next season. If I'm next year in fantasy football, I'll definitely be drafting Jack Doyle. Guy played well this season, was a top 10 tight end in fantasy, and with Andrew Luck coming back next year, Andrew Luck is going to make Jack Doyle so much better. So I think he's going to be good next season. You got T.Y. Hill, and he's going to play well, and I just think the Colts are just going to beat the Texans this week. That's all it is to it. Next up, we got the Jets facing off with the Patriots, and I got the Patriots in this one big time. Patriots are favored by 15, and they're going to cover, without a doubt. Have no doubts about it. So, I got the Patriots now. We'll talk more about the Jets in the next segment. They did some things in the front office and with their head coach. We'll talk about it. And we'll pretty much talk more about the Jets. I'm just going to talk about the Jets in the next segment, what they have to do. As for the Redskins and Giants, I got Washington in this one, and get ready, Washington fans, because you're going to finish 8-8, and you're going to be lucky to get more than 3 wins next year if Kirk Cousins is gone. I think Colt McCoy is their backup quarterback, and imagine how terrifying that is going into next season. Colt McCoy is going to be the starter of that team, unless they trade up to get a quarterback, which I think they should, but they probably won't. So, didn't they do that with the Rams? Yeah, didn't they trade up with the Rams a couple years ago to get RG3? Yeah, I think they did. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see if they... Dude, they're going to... How long has it been? How long has Kirk Cousins been in the league for? Is he finishing out his rookie contract? I think this is his 5th year. Man, they really messed this up. You had 2 really good quarterbacks on RG3. RG3, the only thing you had to do in order to keep him and keep him playing well was fix your field. That's literally it. That's all they had to do. Just fix the field and he'd be playing still. But they didn't. So the guy tore his ACL and was never the same since. And as far as Kirk Cousins, I still don't know why they didn't pay him. If they would have paid him before, they wouldn't have had to pay him whatever some other team is going to be paying him. He was going to become the highest paid quarterback in NFL history, it's looking like. And I don't understand that. Why? Why is Kirk Cousins going to be the highest paid player in NFL history? It didn't make sense to me. But nonetheless, he's going to get paid. And the Redskins are going to be in big trouble next year because they're not going to have a quarterback. They're going to win 3 games, if that, 4 games. That'll be a great season for them if they win 4 games next year. And that's all depending on whether or not Kirk Cousins comes back, but I doubt he is. And as far as the Giants, we'll talk more about them in the next segment, along with the Jets. Cowboys and Eagles. Ezekiel Elliott's back. Last week. Dallas is down at the 2-yard line. Down by, 9 or 8? Doesn't matter. Instead of, doing the smart thing and just doing the logical thing, giving the ball to Ezekiel Elliott at the goal line, what do? Hey, let's try and throw the ball a bunch of times. I think Rod Marinelli is the offensive coordinator. Get rid of him. Jason Garrett, get rid of him. Jason Garrett's not going to go anywhere, though, because why? He's a yes man to Jerry Jones. That's why he's been there for so long. Dallas hasn't done anything since Jason Garrett's been there. Anything. They haven't done. They made the playoffs last year. Oh, big whoop. Lost to the Packers. Guy has not done a thing. But he's a yes man, so he's going to be there. As far as the Eagles go, I think they're going to win this game. I think they're the better team, even with Nick Foles playing quarterback. And I think they're going to win it and finish as the number 1 seed. There's really not much to talk about. Those Philadelphia Eagles fans are going to be going crazy on Sunday, and that's just all there is to it. Dallas isn't winning this game. Next up, we got the Browns versus the Steelers. Are we surprised that the Browns are going to go 0-16? Oh, yeah. If you didn't know, I'm picking the Steelers. But literally, are we surprised that the Browns are going to go 0-16? That's like the most Browns thing you can do. Like, this is going to be like the icing on top. The Browns, the team that came back in 1998 and hasn't really played well at all, is going to finish it all off going 0-16. Maybe this is like the thing right here. This is the season where, you know what, this is the cherry on top, and after this, they'll go and they'll become a decent team. Maybe this is like the this is like the last page of the Browns being terrible book. It's been, 19 years? 0-16? That's how they have to end the book. After this year, they have to do something. Right? I mean, you can't top this. You can't. But either way, Steelers are going to win this one big. Panthers at Falcons. You know my pick for this one. I got the Panthers. Think they're the better team. Think the Falcons have been underwhelming all season. So there's really nothing about it. Cam Newton's playing good football right now. That defense is creating a lot of turnovers. Jonathan Stewart's been playing well. Christian McCaffrey's been a really good versatile player. Versatile? Is it versatile or versatile? You know what I mean. But either way, Devin Funch has been playing well. Greg Olsen looked like he's back on track. So we'll see how it all ends up. But I got the Panthers in this one. And heading into the next game, we got the Saints versus the Bucks. Saints are winning that one. Saints are going to be division winners. No doubt. But let's see. Panthers are going to finish as the number 5 seed. So they'll be playing. Who's the number? I think they'll be playing the Saints. Are they? Yeah, they're going to be playing the Saints in the playoffs, I think, because the Rams are going to. Ooh. It's going to be the Panthers versus the Rams. You want to know why? Because the Rams are losing this week to the 49ers. I think Sean McVay is going to be sitting a lot of the starters against the Niners, and Jimmy Garoppolo is the truth. So, oh yeah, let's make that pick right now. 49ers beating the Rams for sure. All right, book it. Lock it down. Let's see. Next game, we got Cincinnati Bengals heading into Baltimore facing off with the Ravens. We know how this game ends. Cincinnati Bengals, you know how this game ends. Ravens are winning. As far as the Bengals go, are they going to get rid of Marvin Lewis finally? I really have no clue. This is like a cliffhanger right here. We're going to have to wait till, someone's got to get fired on January 1st. That's not too good. Ugh. Either way, though, I'm not sure if they're going to bring him back, so we'll see about it. But I got the Ravens in that game. Obviously, you know I got the Jags over the Titans. Don't think highly of the Titans at all. Let's see. Chiefs at Broncos. Still giving up on the Chiefs. They're going to lose to the Ravens in the playoffs. Lock it down. And I got the Chiefs beating the Broncos, though. I got the Chargers beating the Raiders. I think Phillip Rivers is going to go for around 2 touchdowns, 300 yards. 3 touchdowns, 300 yards. Forgot the Raiders defense. So I got the Chargers in that one. They're making the playoffs. And for the final game of the weekend, we got the Seattle Seahawks facing the Cardinals. And I got the Seahawks 10 times out of 10 in that one, no doubt. So those are how my picks are going. That's going to wrap it up for this segment. Next up, we'll talk a little about the college football playoff. Those games are going on Monday. Can't wait for that. And make my picks for that. And like I said, we'll talk about the Jets. We'll talk about the Giants a little bit and anything else that comes to mind in football. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Check out the show built around the women of MMA. From the UFC to the extreme cage fighting, we got the fights covered.
Listen.
It's the Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast. The latest news of upcoming fights, discussions of previous matches. Join us as we talk to and about the biggest names in women's mixed martial arts, past, present, and future. When it's the women's fight game, you know where to listen to. The Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Football Podcast. That last segment, I made my Week 17 picks. Let me see if I can do a quick recap real quick of my picks. Quick little rundown. Let's see, I got the Vikings beating the Bears. I got the Dolphins beating the Bills. The Lions beating the Packers. The Colts beating the Texans. The Patriots beating the Jets. The Redskins beating the Giants. The Eagles beating the Cowboys. The Steelers beating the Browns. Shout out 0-16. Got the Falcons or the Panthers beating the Falcons. The Ravens beating the Bengals. The Saints beating the Bucks. The Jaguars beating the Titans. The Chiefs beating the Broncos. The Chargers beating the Raiders. The 49ers beating the Rams. And the Seahawks beating the Cardinals. Before I even get into this college football game, man, it's crazy what quarterback can do to a team. Jimmy G comes in, starts. 49ers look like a completely different team. And they're going to be a good team next season. I know I was talking about how the Bears should get Calvin Ridley, but I mean, if the 49ers, I know they got to work on that offensive line too, but if they already get Calvin Ridley, that 1-2 punch with him and Jimmy G would be disgusting. But we'll see how it all ends up. Let's see, let's talk some NCAA football. I cannot wait for January 1st. Plenty of good games. Let me see, let me pull it up. We got Michigan versus South Carolina. The Outback Bowl. When Michigan South Carolina played, when Clowney destroyed that running back, isn't that the Outback Bowl too? I have to double check that. Then we got UCF versus Auburn, 9:30 a.m. I can't wait for Monday. You got Notre Dame versus LSU. I'm not watching that game. Then you got Georgia versus Oklahoma and Alabama versus Clemson. So let's start off with this Alabama and Clemson game because I got more to say about the Georgia and Oklahoma game. All right, so beginning of the month when they announced who was going to make the playoff, made my way too early pick. I picked Clemson over Alabama. I'm changing my pick. Okay, I'm doing it. I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to change my pick. I got Alabama. I don't even think Alabama should have made the playoff. I thought it should have been Ohio State. It's not. Ohio State, by the way, has a USC going on tonight. I think if, before I get into this Alabama game, I think if USC or if Sam Darnold plays well, then he's going to come out. But if he doesn't play well, then he's going to stay at USC. But either way, bad game or not, I think he should still come out. There's a lot of quarterback needy teams in the top 10. If he doesn't come out this year and has a Jake Locker type of year, then he's not going to be drafted as high. So I think either way, come out. I understand the whole I don't want to play for the Browns thing, neither do I. But either way, you should come out. So we'll see about that. But going back to this Alabama and Clemson game, I mean, Clemson is the number one team in the nation, but Nick Saban is 12-2 in his last 14 revenge games. All right, Bryant, the quarterback from Clemson, has done well picking up the slack since Deshaun Watson left. Clemson has not missed a beat with Deshaun Watson not being out there, and they owe it to Bryant right here. But Alabama, they're healthy. Nick Saban, he's the coach. I got Alabama in this one. I think it's gonna be a really good game, but I think Alabama is gonna be able to pull it out. And who knows? Maybe Alabama blows out Clemson. Alabama is that type of team to where they can do that on any given Saturday. I need to trademark that. Al Pacino can't get that one. But yeah, I think Alabama's gonna win that game. And as for the Georgia and Oklahoma game, there's way too much talk about, Oklahoma's going to win. No, they're not. Oklahoma's not winning. Georgia's winning. Lock it down. It's happening. Georgia is winning this game. I have no doubts at all. Georgia. They're winning. All right, I'm going to burn it into your minds right now. Georgia is beating Oklahoma. I promise you. Okay? Baker Mayfield, really good quarterback. Heisman winner. Okay? I think he's a great quarterback, at least in college. NFL, I'm not too sure about him. All right? But I don't think he's good enough to where he's going to be able to lead Oklahoma on his own to win that game. And I say on his own because you know what? You know what they don't do in the Big 12? They don't play defense. You know what they do in the SEC? Oh, yeah. They play defense. It's not always the best, but they play defense. All right, you're telling me that Oklahoma is going to keep Georgia to under 30? No, it's not happening. You could tell me that Georgia's going to keep Oklahoma to under 30. I'll believe that. Okay? Oklahoma could score 35 or whatever. Georgia's going to score 40 at least. Okay? I might be I mean, I'm just basing it off of Oklahoma score. If Oklahoma scores 30 plus, Georgia's scoring 40. I'll say that right there, okay? Oklahoma doesn't score more than 30, then who knows? Either way, Georgia's winning this game. I promise you, okay? I've been thinking about it, and you know what? It's just Oklahoma has no defense. None of these teams in the Big 12 have defense. That's going to be the downfall. Okay, Georgia's going to run all over them, and Georgia's going to get some stops. I don't think Oklahoma's going to get stops, or at least as often as they should. Oklahoma or Georgia can come out and get me a stop if I need it. Oklahoma, I don't trust them at all. They need Baker Mayfield to go out and put up points after points after points after points. Okay, I just don't think it's going to happen. Okay, it's going to be a good game, but unless Baker Mayfield is like the greatest quarterback in college football history, I just don't see him beating Georgia. And I think Baker Mayfield's going to have a great game, but I just don't think it's going to be able to be enough because of that Oklahoma defense. That's going to be their downfall. Okay, so like I said, lock it down. Georgia's beating Oklahoma, no doubts. All right, those are my picks. Not going to make my picks for the championship game. Obviously, I'd have Georgia playing Alabama, so we'll just wait till Tuesday to do all that. Yeah, by the way, we won't be back Monday. We'll be back Tuesday since Monday is January 1st. Can't wait to watch all those games, though. But let's see. Next up, let's talk about the Jets for a minute. They extended their GM's contract, and they extended Todd Bowles' contract. Well-deserved. Going into the season, I didn't think the Jets were winning more than 3 games, if that. That was like the max. They won 5. Okay? Todd Bowles got the most you possibly could have out of this roster. Okay? They probably would have finished the season 7-9 if Josh McCown doesn't go down. Or at least have a chance to. Alright? Todd Bowles is a great coach. I remember him when he was the DB coach in Miami and when he was the defensive coordinator in Arizona. Everywhere he's gone, he's gotten the most out of players. And that's what he's been doing with the Jets. I know last season people were talking about, fire Todd Bowles. No, don't do that. Don't fire Todd Bowles. Look what he's doing this season. He's gotten the most out of each one of these players, okay? The Jets, though, I mean, they still got a lot of work on. They need a new running back. They need a number 2 receiver. They need to fix up the secondary, and they need a quarterback. They got to trade up in the draft. They have to. You can't go into the season with Bryce Petty or Christian Hackenberg as your quarterback. They have to. They can't go into the season as Josh Allen from Wyoming as their quarterback. Can't. Okay, they need Sam Darnold or Josh Rosen. Even Baker Mayfield, but I don't really think Baker Mayfield's going to be too good. And I don't want to see Lamar Jackson go to the Jets, so I'm not even going to bring that up. All right? But they need a top quarterback in this draft, without a doubt. They don't, they're done. Todd Bowles is getting fired next year. They need it. Okay? So again, well-deserved contract extension, but they have to do well in the free agency and the draft. The draft, without a doubt, that's the biggest thing for them this offseason. They have to hit on almost every pick in the draft. Okay? If they don't, then they're in big trouble. I'll tell you that much. And as far as the Giants go, Dave Gettleman, the new GM, came out and said that, you know what, they're going to try and keep OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr., going to try and sign him to a new contract. And if I'm OBJ, I'm not coming out and playing another game until I get a big contract. All right? And it's looking like they might be bringing back Eli Manning next season. Guy's got 2 more years on his contract, and if I'm them, why not? Bring back Eli Manning, draft Josh Rosen or Sam Darnold, let him learn under Eli. Eli Manning's got 2 more years. After those 2 years, throw Darnold or Rosen in there. That should be the plan. Dude, Ben McAdoo and whoever the Jerry Reese, I think that was the GM, they were really going to get rid of Eli Manning? I'm just thinking about it now. It's mind-blowing. If I'm Dave Gettleman, I'm bringing back Eli Manning and have him start again next year and have Josh Rosen or Sam Darnold just learn under him. That's genius. But we'll see. Like I said, bring back Eli Manning, please. That's the plan. That should be the plan. But that's all I got to say about that. That's actually going to wrap it up for today's show. We won't be back till Tuesday because of New Year's. Hope everyone has a good time with their families, friends, or if you're just someone who likes to stay in on New Year's, enjoy that. Watch a movie. Do whatever you like to do at home. Hope everyone has a good time. Can't wait for those games on Monday, the college football games specifically speaking. And can't wait to see all the playoff shakeup and the how the final seeding is going to be in the playoffs in the NFC and AFC. It's going to be interesting to see. But like I said, that's going to wrap it up for today's show. This is the GSMC Football Podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Tapia. Once again, quick reminder, we won't be back till Tuesday. After that, the show's going to be back to normal. So stay tuned, and we'll talk to you Tuesday. Have a good New Year's.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.